Nicky, we're here for the traditional Gallops morning at Newbury ahead of the Coral Gold Cup meeting. But very much the star on show here today was Constitution Hill, of course. He bids to regain his Unibet Champion Hurdle crown. 12 months ago we were here and perhaps it didn't quite go according to plan, but things look to be going much more smoothly this time around.
Hope so. Yeah, could be much worse. No, that was great. Everybody's happy, all smiley faces. Nico was happy, the horse was happy, so if they're both happy, I'm happy.
And it seems almost as if this year you've not changed his training regime, but you're doing a lot of different things with him, and I know you've taken away on quite a few occasions. Are you quite mindful of doing that this year to make sure there is no stone left unturned?
Well, then it's that, I mean, yeah, he went to Worcester and then he came here. He'd always been here. He did go to Worcester 3 weeks ago, and it was just because it finished up on such a bad note at Punchestown last year, when he actually said, please, I don't want to do this again. I've just had 2 horrible falls and I can't. And he's got enough sense to do that. And so the first thing, which was pretty obvious, you've got to just get him back into the frame of mind where he's enjoying going to the races. He didn't enjoy going to Punchestown. Simple as that. Who would do after what had happened? And yeah, it's been nice because it has, you know, he's in good form. He's finding his work very easy, so he's consequently enjoying it, and that's what the battle plan's been all along, to be honest with you.
Have you been able to get a lot of scoring into him, or as much as you'd like?
Not a lot, as much as we'd liked, actually. We've got a bit more to do. The only thing I do want to do is jump these padded hurdles. I think they've, you know, I'm not saying that, I'm not blaming them, but I think they're the ones that have been catching him out, whereas the old hurdles we were using just never made a mistake. Actually, Barney at Kempton has come to our rescue here because he's actually he's brought the hurdles to Seven Barrows rather than me to Seven Barrows going to Kempton. So he's just lent us a few sections, so we're going to build that this afternoon, and then later on this week he's schooled loads. We're doing lots of schooling over all sorts of different things. Look, everybody's got their ideas of what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? I appreciate everybody's good intentions, but if I'd listened to all of them, this horse would be I was confused, and I'm sure the horse would be very confused by now. So we're just doing what we think is the sensible bit, and I say that's the last bit of the jigsaw is probably just to have a school at home now. And you might just do another little bit of work at the weekend, Sunday or Monday, I suspect, and then off we go up to the north and hope the weather's kind. And actually, it looked nice ground at Newcastle the other day. They were racing there during Cheltenham, wasn't it? And it didn't look too bad.
As a physical specimen, is he any different now to what he was 12, 18 months ago?
Well, I think he is, yeah. I always thought he was a sort of rather square block of a horse. And, you know, as much as I love him, he wasn't exactly the oil painting that, you know, everybody might conjure up of a, you know, when you think of the Sprinter Sacras and horses like that, they really were outstandingly beautiful horses. You couldn't, in the nicest way in the world, call him beautiful. But I think he's sort of just got sleekier, and I don't know, he sort of seems to have a bit more quality about him than I remember.
We asked Michael Buckley what would it mean to him if his favourite horse could regain his Unibet Champion Hurdle crown. I'll ask you the same question. What would it mean to you, who looks after this horse day in, day out, to get his career back on track, right where you want him?
It's our job. It's not. It's a privilege to have a horse like him. But I mean, with that comes the responsibility of having to try and do what you're saying. Our job is to try and get him back into the right frame of mind and use his ability. There's no doubt his ability is definitely still there, and I little doubt that his confidence is pretty high at the moment, which is basically all we've been aiming to do. The job in hand in front of him is going to be mighty tricky, I think. You know, and we're probably not as forward as we would like to be with all the horses, though he has done quite a lot. There was one moment about 3 weeks ago I thought I was nearly too far ahead, but I don't think that's the issue at the moment, I must admit. But you know, you've got Dan's horse, who's, you know, the new Lion. I mean, he's going to take a lot of beating. There's no doubt about it, and there will be others. and it will be our first run of the year. Oh, no, it's his, but you can see why their horses are visibly a couple of weeks ahead of us. We'll have to try and think. I think Constitution has done as much as he could possibly do without having a race, probably. Yeah.
We'll just stick with the horses because he had a little canter, nice work with Therapist and Active Innocence. Will we see both of those two horses here in a couple of weeks' time?
Therapist probably won't. No, I think she's just coming back after a bit of a break. Although the break was when the ground was quick, which is actually what she wants. She'll probably go back to the all-weather for a wee while on the flat, and then.
Hence, Rob Hornby was on board.
Not really. He was lovely. He's a star. And no, and actually it suited because really there was no point in Constitution Hill going round at level weights with that sort of an animal. So it seemed right that he should have to give her 2 stone, which he was.
Active Innocence, who was pulled out of Cheltenham at the weekend, might he line up here?
Yes, he will. Yeah, there's a National Hunt Novice Hurdle, and that's the plan for him to come here now. So it seemed an opportunity, having come out of Cheltenham, have a spin round today, and then he'll be all ready for that. And hope he gets a nicer ground than it was last weekend.
We also saw Hyland, who worked with Manlager and Gala Shields. Hyland obviously would be the highlight in the big handicap steeplechase. I suppose he's just tuned up a bit since his run at Cheltenham last time.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't. When he started out last year as a novice in novice chases on good fast ground in that autumn, it was easy for him. But he takes a lot of work. He's quite laid back about life. I was very pleased with him there. That woke him up a lot, and I like the way he finished his gallop. He had a good blow with that run at Cheltenham the other day under his belt, and this I'd be hoping we'd be sort of thereabouts. And we're thinking also, I mean, the point of what I was doing there this morning was we worked Constitution Hill first in order to be able to say, well, look, if that goes well and Nico's happy with him and we're going to go to Newcastle, well, then that means Nico won't be here for the Coral, in which case James had a spin on Highland today because he can ride him in the Coral, that's why it's worked nicely.
Gala Shields looks quite an interesting recruit to you. Very smart on the flat. Loves soft ground for Andre Farb, so could make a nice jumper.
Well, I think, yeah, we ran him on the flat, and I can't remember who rode him last time. I think he's a horse that needs to get his confidence back as well. And we rather felt that he wasn't enjoying it so much. So that was, he's enjoying his jumping now, and it was a great opportunity to bring him to a racecourse. Again, carrying no weight whatsoever. I mean, Highland's giving him 2 stone. Highland's a 3-mile chaser. So, I mean, yeah, he looks good doing that, but I expect you could look quite good at getting 2 stone off a 3-mile chaser. But no, it was good. And again, it's all about getting him confidence, and he loves soft ground. Yeah.
Let's just reflect a little bit on the weekend and the last couple of days, and we'll start with the positive. Lulamba looked quite good at Exeter early on in the week on his debut over fences. How pleased were you?
Oh, delighted with him. Yeah, it was terrific. It was a pity the fences weren't there because that's what he does best. No, I thought he was absolutely fabulous. I mean, they weren't bad horses. They weren't that far behind him over hurdles last year in ratings. So, I mean, he really enjoyed himself. It was lovely. And it was Exeter is the perfect novice chase course to introduce novices. You do that with every single one of them if you could. No, perfect. He's back. I saw him out this morning before we came here, and he was fresh and ready. So we might even try and go straight to Sandown for the.
I was going to say, would it be softly with him, or are you going to just go straight up and
Sandown? I mean, he hasn't. To all effect, he hasn't actually had a race yesterday, so I think he can afford to go there. We looked after him last year with only 3 runs.
So people forget how lightly raced he is.
He's only a 4-year-old. Yeah, that's the whole point of doing it. But I think if we could go to Sandown, it'd be a good track for him. Yeah.
And how's JONBON after the slur?
Great. Yeah, very good. Everybody's happy, and we had to do it. It wasn't ideal. It was. He never does jump as well out of that ground as he does on really good ground. And I think if you get to go back over the years, the slur he's always got away and won it. It's never been his most impressive performance of the year. But we always know we've got 3 weeks. It's only 3 weeks until the Tingle Creek, so you have to treat it a bit carefully. And I think the last couple of years, the competition hasn't exactly been very strong. Now, I think it was a much stronger race this year. in horrible ground, and for which I feel very sorry for Cheltenham, because they would have had beautiful ground 3 days before, and then just to watch that cut to ribbons for 3 days must be soul destroying. But it was what it was, and well, we had to do it, and I actually suggest that was probably much the same sort of performance as the last 2 years, and that will always puts him right. He comes back to the Tingle Creek zipping, and I don't see any reason not to be as optimistic.
I've got to just touch on the consistent Mr. Coffey. Second again, Nicky. I mean, is he ever going to break his deck of offences?
Well, there you go. I mean, he was meant to go cross country. They didn't have it, and I needed the next cross country is in the December meeting, so he needed a run at this time. He now slots into a veterans chase as a novice. And there you go. I mean, he's rated 140 something. It's not. Everybody says, why don't you find him a nice, easy race? He can win. When you're rated 144 or whatever he is, there is no such thing. You're running in handicaps. You can't run in. There's no point in running in a beginner's chase, because even off that rating, it's still, you're going to bump into. There you go. Lulambas and anything you like, yeah.
We would quote him for the Beecher chase as well. Is that something you might consider for him?
I thought Excello ought to go there the way he ran. He was third the other day in the Sefton. So I thought Excello ought to go to the Beecher. I think he'd take the extra distance. Yeah, Coffey. I think one day you'd go back there, but he loves his cross country, so we'll keep him for that November race.